So the previous video was the first time we actually went and looked at South America, because South America is becoming really interesting because we came to the result that Castile, who had formed a lot of the colonies in that region, or I guess in that continent, ended up losing a big war in France, several wars in France back in Europe, which allowed for a lot of those colonies to become independent. So the New World as a whole, I think, is just going to be a really kind of fun place to look at. And I think after, looking at the New World, maybe by the end of the series we'll be able to look a little bit more into, oh, look at that, the Mamluks formed Egypt. That is really cool. Obviously, the Old World's going to be playing a pretty big impact on the New Worlds, and actually something that I've not really been able to look at not been able to look at too much, is New South Wales and their complete control over the Australian continent, and what will happen with some of the Europeans as they colonize kind of the Indian and South and Pacific Islands. So that will be fun. Obviously, there's a pretty big war going on here for Portuguese lands. Oh, that's a native trying to kick them out. Okay, so I promised you guys we'd finally go over development. They're losing that. That's crazy. Portugal, what are you doing? Currently, Indiana's at war with Missouri. We also have Montana at war with Missouri. Oregon's not looking too good. Yeah, Oregon's in a bad situation. Okay, so country and development. Here we go. France is number 1. Oh, I thought Ming was number 1. I guess I was wrong about that. Okay, so France is number 1, then Ming, then the Moguls. Then we have Guanajuato in 4th place. So they've jumped to 4th place now. I thought they were like 5th or 6th the last time we checked. They're looking good, obviously. Great Britain, 928. Egypt is formed. Bohemia, but superstate-wise, we have New York. New York just outside of the top 10. That is very surprising, because I could have swore it would have been Indiana. Actually, Montana is ahead of Indiana, too. La Plata is the biggest nation inside of South America right now, with the most amount of development. I'm guessing they were successful. I mean, did they take a lot from New Castilian territory in the south? Yeah, kind of. They're just a huge nation in general, though. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so Scandinavia looking pretty good. Castilian West Indies, that's the other kind of cool power in the Caribbean. Surprised the Puerto Rico is still around too with them. Colombia, there's Oregon. Wow, that's pretty high on the list for Oregon. I mean, they are still behind Montana, Indiana, New York. I guess it's kind of a given. No, that's not. Yeah, they're not high on the list overall, but I just kind of wasn't expecting them to see, out of the super states, to see them in the top 5, even though theoretically I should. It's pretty much just Guanajuato, Indiana, Montana, New York, and Oregon. And actually Oregon, not in that order, but New York was pretty surprising. Point is, New York's surprising in 2nd place. Rhode Island, they're not too far behind Oregon, and Missouri not too far behind Rhode Island. That's pretty much all we can check on. Yep, New South Wales has just dropped, and you just can't expand that much. The AI is not very good at playing tall, but this would be a really fun game to play in Australia, to kind of play tall. I think that'd be really fun in EU4. Excuse me, I just haven't been able to play tall in EU4, and this would be a perfect situation. Clearly, the AI is not as good as, like I've said, of just focusing on developing, military-wise, diplomatic, and administrative-wise. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what happens. Pretty big. I mean, it wasn't that big. It was kind of interesting to see in the New World who was doing well in terms of development. Obviously, those numbers are going to change drastically by the end of this. We've been just zooming through, and that's part of the reason why I think this SuperStates series has been so successful, so much more successful. Not in terms of views or performance on YouTube, I just mean in general, it's an interesting series to watch because I have a much better computer. The last time I tried this, last time I tried to do any EU4 AI onlys, I had to run it kind of slower, but not anymore. I've got a new computer. I've had a new computer for a while now, but being able to run these at speed 5 is like, boom, there's always something happening. So there might be a pretty big future, I think, in terms of EU4 AI onlys. So that'll be interesting. Wow, Oregon is almost fully occupied. So is Missouri, though. So this alliance will definitely end, and this is what Montana needs, I think. I think Montana needs to eat this up to become that, well, first of all, to catch New York, and actually they'll leapfrog over New York, I think. Something I didn't mention in Nova Scotia was eaten by Rhode Island and New York. I mean, New York took a little bit, but not a whole bunch. But they ended up taking a little bit here. Oh, good. Okay, so North Carolina was eliminated. I was going to say, how How has no one taken out North Carolina? They were one province minor for a long time. I mean, I guess I could say the same thing for, you know, New Mexico. I guess. Most of these, yeah. Oklahoma's... Wait, has Oklahoma always been back? Anyways, border gore is in central Northern America. Clearly, that's where most of the border gore is occurring. How much war score do you have? Oh, Guanajuato's not contributing much to this, are they? Plus 50. And then it's Indiana that is the other... Yeah, oh my gosh, they're at 70. Oh, so Indiana's getting most of the war score out of Missouri. Montana doesn't know what to do, so they're just going to focus on Oregon. Which... Oh, bam. Yep, they took all that. Oh, they didn't even take anything from Missouri. Those wars were declared for Missouri. But Montana ended up taking it from Oregon, which was kind of pretty smart. And now Iowa. I'm sorry, now people were released. Nebraska's back. Somewhat back. Texas got some cores back. That's funny. That was nice of you, Indiana. So Indiana and Montana growing in strength. Guanajuato didn't take anything out of that. We'll see if they get caught eventually. I mean, it's going to be tough because Texas is going to fall no matter what. Ooh. Ooh, okay, that's kind of a... Oh, this is from Texas. That was a declaration of war from Texas, not from Oregon. They're the defender against Texas because they probably lost that war from... They lost the war against Montana so badly that even a weakened Texas might have a chance here. Did Texas drag somebody else into this? No. Is Sonora gonna get... Is Sonora in a separate war then? Okay, I thought I saw something weird. Texas is still doing okay. Texas is still doing not bad. Remember, a lot of their cores, they've got a lot of cores. They don't have that many cores, but they've got a few cores, okay? They've got a few cores that they might be able to take advantage of, occupied by Iowan separatists. Missouri now allied to only Mississippi. Always got to check on relationships. So the central U.S. still has not fallen completely enough for opinions to change all that much. Guanajuato doesn't like Mississippi, Castilian West Indies, and New York. Yeah, so all these are the same for the most part. All right, so there's the power that we will see fall. It was Oregon. Rhode Island will be the next big question. Who's cool? Oh, Rhode Island is cool with Indiana. So though New York is doing so well, that's going to be a problem. And that's another big problem, is New York's only ally is allied to Rhode Island. So that's a tough cookie. They are in a tough position. Okay, so boom, Texas did just get their cores back. Oregon again being kind of shoved in the corner. Now this is where I think British Columbia might have a little bit better of a chance of grabbing that Oregon alliance, which is something they need to do. I'm surprised British Columbia is alive too. I keep forgetting about that. Is this Portugal? Yes, it is. This is an older version of EU4, just to keep in mind, so that we might see, hey, the Chukchi! That's awesome! If you watch Civ 5 AL only battles, we had the Chukchi, and that's cool. I didn't know that they're in EU4. That's funny. I had no idea. That's really cool. Now, in terms of... Oh, what do they have? Oregon's peasants? Okay, in terms of truces. Texas's truce with Oregon is up in 1723. With Sonora in 1720. Guanajuato has no truce with Texas, so at any point, they can go crazy. Guanajuato no longer allied to Oregon. Hey, I didn't think about that. Guanajuato... Well, keep in mind that Oregon was helping Missouri. That's why Guanajuato wasn't involved. But that's kind of big. They're no longer allied to Oregon. That was, I think, one of the ways we would have seen Guanajuato push back against either Montana or Indiana. And, you know, Guanajuato's going to have to choose here. And if they choose the side of Indiana to support... Because, you know, Montana and Indiana are only going to stay in this kind of Cold War that they're in for so long. Eventually, they will have to break free. The war will break out, and Guanajuato's going to have to choose. I'm trying to see if we could see a specific alliance member. I'm trying to see if, like, somebody from their allies to each other might call them into a war. But no, it's just going to be a direct war. It'll be when somebody is attacking somebody else, and then one of them's going to take advantage. That's kind of the only thing I could think of. Only results I think we could see. Guanajuato now in 3rd place, 980. All right. And Indiana back in 2nd place. Montana 3rd. Yeah, New York kind of dropped a little bit, didn't they? They're up for a little bit because I think they had power over Nova Scotia. They just finished that Nova Scotian war. They didn't take that much away, but they probably took something that was pretty well developed. But yeah, no, they're back in 4th place again. And this is kind of a game of only 4 powers in North America at this point. All right, so let's check back in with South America. Castilian West Indies, not looking good. They're at war with Colombia. And French Brazil. Did Colombia land in Cuba? They did. Nice move, AI. Very nice move. Oh, Haiti's here. That's cool. Who are you allied to, Haiti? Allied to Colombia. Oh, but you're not in this war. That must have been Castile that probably declared it then. No, that must be... I'm sorry, that Colombia declared an offensive war. It had to have been. That's the only reason why Haiti wouldn't have helped, probably more than likely. Not necessarily, but yeah. Okay, let's check on religion, because we have been checking in on this, but I knew that, yep, Protestantism was going to cut into American baptism in the Deep South. Texas expanding is going to save American baptism a little bit more. And if we do see... It's so interesting to see Montana. So Montana is allowing Protestantism to stay. And this is just becoming Catholic, like straight up Catholic. But it's allowing Protestantism in Canada to stay. This is an interesting move by the AI, even though their state religion is disconnected Catholics. I feel like that's got to cause some internal effects. It definitely does. We know that causes some internal issues. Who's here? Oh, okay. I thought somebody was over here. British Columbia. Oh, British Columbia didn't get at that alliance with Oregon, which, as I said, was something important. Oh, you're grouping together. You group together. What the heck just happened? Okay, so Guanajuato peaced out with Texas. Yes, they did. They peaced out with Texas. Now we have Missouri. Is it? No. Mississippi and Iowa not going after Texas. And just like that, British Columbia is done. Montana looks good. Montana looks real good. British Columbia is still alive, though. But yeah, they've got no chance of coming back, I don't think. Guanajuato connecting their territory in the Deep South now, so it'll be a lot easier to manage a little bit. I think a lot easier. Colombia, I think, kind of starting to lose this war, aren't they? I wouldn't be surprised. Now Portugal is helping. Portugal and New Portugal and Castilian West Indies. Colombia's, just bringing in French Brazil. They're not going to be able to help out too much. They're not even that strong. Oh, Haiti's now there. This is not 2 separate wars, right? No. They just finally called in their allies. Okay, so what's going to happen to Texas? Mississippi's probably going to eat through here, I'm thinking. And next question is, who do you hate more now? You still hate Texas, even though Texas is not a threat to you anymore, Guanajuato. Just a little memo. Little memo. Texas is not a threat. Just wanted to say that. Mississippi really also not a threat either, though. Let's check on Northern Virginia, because they kind of have an interesting game. They're hated by Indiana and Mississippi. They're okay with South Carolina, but they shouldn't be. South Carolina, yeah, Northern Virginia needs to attack South Carolina and Mississippi. That would be really, really cool to see Northern Virginia control all the, territory all the way down to Florida. That would be pretty fun, I think. And boom. Okay, so second war between New York and Indiana. Well, it's probably not the second war. They've been at war many times, but this is the second big one, I guess, as of this era, or as of this century. Okay, so Indiana once again calling in Rhode Island. New York calling in Northern Virginia. Now, last time we saw this happen, Montana got into it. They still hate each other, and Montana's not doing anything. Montana has no truce with Indiana, and they're not distracted. This formula is leaning towards the idea that Montana is going to go after Indiana, but I don't know. Oh, it's Missouri and Iowa after Texas. Okay. Oklahoma's back. And they look like almost actual modern-day Oklahoma. They're very close to it. Come on, Oklahoma. You can do it. Come back, buddy. You got this. It's just kind of interesting. I really like this because they both have these, like, kind of smaller countries, smaller states, I guess I should say, that are pretty strong on their own. I think Rhode Island's a little bit stronger. And they're both kind of going to be a big thorn in each of the bigger states' sides. Oh, Guanajuato is in this. Did I not notice that? Or did they get called in? Yeah, they were in from the very beginning, I thought. So I'm just dumb. Okay, Guanajuato is definitely going to get over there. Yes. Yeah, they should. Even though they're hated by Texas and Mississippi, they'll find a way. They're right there. No, is that? No, that's not them. Maybe, or maybe they don't care. Does Guanajuato not care? Sonora, man, I want you to do something. I think Sonora's pretty cool. Mississippi, boom, pieced out. Now we have Iowa. What is Iowa gonna do? Texan, New Mexico? Take Texan, New Mexico, maybe? Texan, Southwest? Texan, American Southwest? Yeah, this should be a pretty big victory for Indiana, it looks like. I mean, this is really the only point where I think I could see still a lot of change happen in the borders. Anywhere along the East Coast and in, like, Ontario, Quebec, modern day Ontario or Quebec territory, because there's still a lot of small powers here that I think could eat each other up. Yep, there it is, right there. Indiana won that war pretty big. They also released parts of Rhode Island. I'm sorry, no, they released Newfoundland and Labrador. Rhode Island didn't take anything. Yeah, Indiana, that's a pretty big victory. That is a pretty big victory for them. Now, here's the thing. New York and Montana are now going to ally, because they have to. New York needs a friend. And I don't know how New York didn't get that up earlier. What have you been doing, man? Boom, Oregon once again, after being on the defensive, I guess, from Montana. Oh, Iowa did take a huge chunk out of Texas. Texas still exists, but barely. Love how Mississippi's still fighting. Mississippi, I just feel like they just really backstabbed Texas, but they're still going because they're just trying so hard to stay alive. The Deep South, they're trying. This might be the end of Oregon. Maybe it was a smart move to let Montana, because Montana didn't go to war with Indiana, and that's what I thought. I thought they were. But they probably didn't want to risk losing the alliance with Guanajuato, but even worse, they didn't want to risk going to war with Guanajuato. Now, with the fall of Texas, Guanajuato still just hates Mississippi, New York, and Castilian West Indies. But not Montana or Indiana just yet. Anyways, guys, looks like I'm about to stop right there. Ooh, and New Brunswick is also back. And of course, they're already going to war. New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Labrador. Anyways, guys, I'm about to stop right there. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next time.